All right, let's dive right in and tackle one of the biggest, most fundamental questions in all of philosophy. What does it actually mean for anything to exist? To get to the bottom of this, we're going to journey into the incredible mind of Aristotle and unpack his amazing map of reality itself.
Okay, so to kick things off, here's a little brain teaser for you. Just look at the chair you're sitting on right now, or maybe just picture one in your head. Now ask yourself this: which is more real? Is it the specific physical thing made of wood or metal or plastic that you can actually touch? Or is it the perfect universal idea of a chair, the chairness, that lets you recognize any chair anywhere, no matter what it looks like? This one question, believe it or not, is the key that unlocks the entire philosophical world of Aristotle.
So what you're seeing here is basically the philosophical battleground that Aristotle walked into. On the left, you've got the world according to his own teacher, the great Plato. For Plato, true reality wasn't here with us. It was in some other perfect, eternal realm of ideas or forms. And this world we see? It's just a bunch of flawed, flickering shadows on a cave wall. But then Aristotle, his student, comes along, looks around and says, hang on a second. For him, as you see on the right, reality starts right here, with the world we can actually see and touch and study with our senses. This was a huge deal. He basically brought philosophy crashing right back down to earth.
And really, that's the best way to think about him, as a detective. Aristotle wasn't just having a friendly disagreement with Plato. No, he was on a mission. He was investigating the crime scene of existence itself. His ultimate goal? To create a systematic science of reality, a complete toolkit for understanding what makes anything, well, anything.
And he gave this grand investigation a name: metaphysics. Now I know, metaphysics sounds super intimidating, right? But stick with me, because the core idea is actually pretty simple. It's the study of being as being. It's not about what makes a star or what makes a tree a tree. It's about what it means for any of them to exist in the first place. What are the absolute, rock-bottom rules of the game of existence?
So, as our detective, where does Aristotle start his investigation? He starts with the most fundamental question you can imagine. Let's forget about big things like stars and planets for a minute. What is any individual thing? What are the essential ingredients that make up any single object you can point to?
And his answer, well, it was just brilliant in its simplicity. He said to think of it like a recipe. Aristotle was convinced that every single object in the entire universe, from a tiny pebble to a massive planet, is made from the same two basic ingredients.
So here it is, the secret recipe for basically everything. You take some raw stuff, what he called matter, and you combine it with a kind of blueprint or an organizing principle, what he called form. You put those two together and you get a single individual thing, which he gave the special name substance. And here's the kicker: you can't have one without the other. They are the totally inseparable building blocks of all of reality.
Okay, let's really break down these two ingredients because this is super important. On the one hand, you have matter, or hyle in Greek. This is the raw, undefined potential stuff of a thing. So think of a block of marble. Before the sculptor touches it, it's just marble. It could be anything. On the other hand, you have form, or morphe. Now this isn't just its physical shape, it's the whole structure, the essence, its defining identity, what you could call its whatness. It's the sculptor's idea of the statue that's locked inside that marble.
And boom, this is where it all comes together beautifully. Let's take some matter, say a pile of bronze. Now impose a form onto it, the shape and the idea of a statue. What do you get? You get one single, unified object, a bronze statue. That right there is a substance. It's not just the bronze, and it's not just an idea floating in space. It's the two completely fused together into one concrete reality.
All right, so Aristotle's cracked the code on what things are. Awesome. But that just opens up the next huge question, right? How do things change? How does a tiny acorn become a giant oak tree? How does a student who knows nothing become a master? To explain this, he introduced his second powerhouse concept, the incredible journey from potential to act.
And his solution here is just so elegant. It's this beautiful way of seeing the world. Everything that exists has potentiality, dynamis, which is everything it could possibly become. So an acorn has the potential to be an oak tree. But at the same time, everything has actuality, energia, which is what it is right at this very moment. So a massive oak tree is the actuality of that little acorn's potential. For Aristotle, change is nothing more than the process of making potential actual.
But here's the twist, and honestly, this is a total game changer.
Aristotle argues that actuality is always prior to potentiality. What on earth does that mean? It means you can't get something from nothing. For an acorn to realize its potential to become a tree, you first need something that is already an actual tree to make the acorn. For a student to have the potential to become a master, they need an actual master to teach them. Actuality always has to come first.
Okay, so if you follow that chain of logic, that every single change, every bit of motion, is caused by something that's already actual, well, that leads you down a very specific and pretty mind-blowing path. It forces you to ask the ultimate question. What started this whole cosmic chain reaction in the first place? What is the ultimate cause of all the motion and change in the universe?
Aristotle lays this out with just cold, hard logic. It's almost like a mathematical proof. Think about it like a long line of dominoes. Point 1. Anything that's moving had to be pushed by something else. Simple enough? But, and this is the absolute key, that chain of pushers can't go back forever into infinity. That's logically impossible. You'd never get to the domino that's falling right now. So there must have been a starting point. There has to be a first mover that knocked over that very first domino.
And this ultimate source, this first domino pusher, he gives it a really famous name, the Unmoved Mover. It's the thing that moves everything else in the universe, but is not itself moved by anything at all. It's the ultimate source of all change.
So, what is this thing, this unmoved mover, actually like? Well, based on his logic, it has to have some very specific qualities. For one, it must be eternal and completely unchanging. It has to be pure actuality, with absolutely zero unfulfilled potential left. And it can't be made of physical matter, right? Because matter always has the potential to change. This thing is the perfect immaterial ultimate cause of everything that happens.
But this is my favorite part. It's the most beautiful and frankly the coolest part of the whole idea. How does it move everything? It's not by pushing or pulling or giving the universe a shove. No, the unmoved mover moves the entire cosmos by being an object of desire. Everything in the universe is striving toward it, trying to imitate its perfection. It moves the world simply by being the ultimate good, the same way a person you love can inspire you to act without ever laying a finger on you.
So you have to ask, right? What does a perfect, eternal, completely unchanging being do? Well, its activity must be the most perfect activity imaginable, which Aristotle says is thought. And what would a perfect being think about? The only thing perfect enough, itself. The unmoved mover is pure mind, just thinking about its own thinking for all of eternity. And in doing that, it acts as the quiet, gravitational center for all of reality.
Okay, let's take a step back for a second. Why are we still talking about this? Why are these ideas, from over 2,000 years ago, still so incredibly powerful and important? Why is Aristotle's metaphysics considered such a classic?
It's because he did something nobody had ever really done before. He gave us the words, the actual vocabulary, substance, matter, form, potential, actuality. It was like he created the first ever systematic toolkit for taking reality apart and seeing how it works. For the next 2,000 years, pretty much every important conversation in science, philosophy, and even theology was argued using the concepts and the language that he built.
So here's the big takeaway. Aristotle's system, it isn't just some dusty old theory. It's a whole new lens for seeing the world around you. So the next time you see something change, a seed sprouting in a garden, a building going up, or even just an idea taking shape in your own head, maybe you'll think about that incredible journey. You're literally watching the engine of the universe at work, that constant, beautiful, amazing unfolding of potential into actuality.